Great to have you with us here on Arc Salt Lake. I'm Brian Schnee. It is Wednesday, September 4th. We've got a lot to get to tonight. We're going in depth on a mother and 3 children found dead in a car in West Haven. And also coming up, we'll take a deep dive into Black Desert Resort's Black Desert Championship with a member from the PGA Tour himself. Excited to have that conversation coming up in just a few. But new information tonight in the shooting deaths of 4 people in a West Haven neighborhood. Weber County investigators say they found a gun after finding a mom and 3 children in a car, but they were not saying where they found that weapon. Brian Malahy has the latest information on this investigation and has this report.
Drone video shot by a neighbor showed the family outdoors last Friday night.
Our condolences go out to the family, the community.
In just days, this scene had become a crime scene. So you're not calling it murder-suicide?
No, not at this time.
Still, Lieutenant Colby Ryan says no one is in custody, though there have been many interviews. Have you talked to the boyfriend?
Yes, we have talked to numerous individuals that were friends, family.
This afternoon, sheriff's deputies were back at the house, and a big wheel was still on the front lawn.
We've investigated quite a few of these crimes, and it takes a toll on everybody.
So again, investigators are not calling this a case of murder-suicide, at least not yet. But at the same time, they also say there's no threat to the community. In Weber County, Brian Malahy, KUTV 2 News.
More of that conversation with Brian and Lieutenant Colby Ryan coming up in just a moment. But first, neighbors are wondering if what they thought were fireworks this past weekend was actually gunshots. Amanda Gilbert talked to those who live nearby about what they saw and what they heard.
Signs of children once playing outside are now an eerie reminder of what happened here.
Just the sweetest little family. The kids would come over all the time.
Darren King moved next door about 3 years ago. He describes the people who live here as a great family.
Daughter moved home just a couple months ago. She moved back home.
The kids.
Those little kids were just the joy of the neighborhood. Super cute.
Just days prior to the tragedy.
We went walking on Friday evening, and the mom and the kids were out in the front yard, and we stopped and talked to them, but there was nothing that stuck out.
He thought he might have heard fireworks this past weekend.
It was just kind of a passing thought that, oh, maybe they're lighting off fireworks for the holiday. I didn't even give it 2 thoughts that maybe it was gunshots.
Across the street, Tara Jacobson also thought she heard fireworks.
It just is really weird to have something like this happen. And it's just so quiet out here.
Her Ring doorbell camera captured the driveway and the car where the bodies were discovered.
Did you notice the car move at all, or when did you notice it stopped moving?
All weekend it moved, we saw it moving Friday and Saturday, Sunday, but after Sunday night it didn't move.
Living this close.
So sad. I don't understand how taking life of a child could ever do anything for anybody, but it's horrible to think about.
Some of these neighbors just wish they could have helped more.
And law enforcement says it was a family member who made the initial discovery and call last night. Amanda Gilbert, KUTV 2 News.
Well, a lot to process with this one. The Weber County Sheriff's Office being very cautious with the information that they're putting out right now. So there are lots of questions, lots of lingering questions, which means Brian Malahy is trying to get answers.
They were found inside of the back of a car parked in the driveway of the residence.
And was there anything unusual about how they were situated in that vehicle?
That's all part of stuff we're learning through the investigation, but all 4 individuals were found in the back, laying down in the back of the vehicle.
Was a gun recovered?
That's still part of the investigation. We haven't released whether a gun was recovered or not.
Are you calling it murder-suicide or something else?
Until we get the official report back from the Office of the Medical Examiner, they will determine the actual cause of death.
So you're not calling it murder-suicide?
No, not at this time.
Has anyone been taken into custody in connection with this case?
No, nobody's been taken into custody. From right now, the evidence that we have at the scene, we have determined that there's no threat to the community in any way.
And does that means that there is no killer on the loose?
That'll come out during our investigation. We're still early on this investigation. We're still trying to look at all the evidence and figure out exactly what happened, how these 4 individuals were found deceased.
We've heard information about a possible boyfriend to the young woman who was killed.
Again, that's all part of our investigation. We are looking at, we're interviewing family members, close friends, neighbors in the neighborhood. We're still trying to piece everything together to get an idea of why this occurred.
Have you talked to the boyfriend?
Yes, we have talked to numerous individuals that were friends, family, relatives of this individual and the children.
So a little bit more context and information there from that long form portion of the conversation with Lieutenant Colby Ryan and our Brian Malahi. Download our 2 News mobile app to get push alerts as we learn new information on this developing story. You can also find our past interviews and reports. The app is free to download. 2 students, 2 teachers died in a shooting inside of a Georgia high school, and 9 others have been hospitalized. This happened this morning at Appalachia High School, just outside of Atlanta. 9 other victims were taken to the hospital with injuries. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation says the suspect, 14-year-old Colt Gray, is a student at Appalachia High School. Gray immediately surrendered when confronted by the school resource officer. Investigators don't know yet whether the victims were specifically targeted. The sheriff says this tragedy hits close to home.
I was born and raised here. I went to school in this school system. My kids go to this school system. I'm proud of this school system. My heart hurts for these kids. My heart hurts for our community.
I was listening to another interview from another outlet down in that area, and one of the students mentioned that the doors in that school lock from the inside anytime they are closed, and someone has to physically open that door for another individual. Meanwhile, students were rushed from the school. Many formed a prayer circle out on that football field where you see on your screen here where they took shelter. The district says the schools will be closed for the rest of the week as the investigation plays out. The suspect, we're told, will be charged as an adult with at least a murder charge. President Joe Biden says he's mourning the deaths of those who were killed. In a statement, he says the shooting is, quote, another horrific reminder of how gun violence continues to tear our communities apart, and that we cannot continue to accept this as normal. Biden calls on Congress to pass common sense gun safety legislation, including a ban on assault weapons, as he called for in the past. Republicans have historically opposed such measures, arguing they violate the Second Amendment. Still ahead here on Arc Salt Lake, we'll liven it up a little bit here with a little bit more positive news. First time in 60 years, the PGA Tour back in Utah. We break down what this means for the state with a conversation from someone who works for the PGA itself. Great to have you with us tonight. We are roughly 1 month away from the PGA Tour returning to Utah for the first time in 60 years. The Black Desert Championship will take place at Black Desert Resort in October. It's part of the PGA's FedEx Cup playoffs, which means that some of the biggest names in golf could be right here in Utah. Today, I spoke with Tyler Dennis, Chief Competitions Officer for the PGA. He knows Utah, and he believes it's a great opportunity for the PGA to be here. As a native Utahn, to get the tour here for the first time in a very, 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 very long time, how does that feel to you as somebody who's, born and raised here and has the roots?
It's really special. We had the chance last year to be down at the Black Desert Resort. It was in the process of being constructed with the ownership team. The governor was there. And to be able to represent the PGA Tour and talk about coming to Utah, I should say coming back to Utah after a very long time, it was really special. The PGA Tour has a lot of roots in Utah. Golf's strong there. As viewers know, we've got some great players over many, many years that have come from Utah, Tony Finau and others more recently. But it's a great golf state and it's a great sports place. And, we're not in Utah until now. To be able to come to southern Utah and greater Zion area and there in St. George, a really growing part of the state, I think it's just very fitting. To be able to display what's there to the world and see how beautiful it is, I think it's an exciting moment for all of us.
Tyler, what happened that allowed this to happen in Utah in the first place? How did that get going?
I think it starts with the vision that the owners and operators of the resort there have. They're building a truly incredible facility, and I think something that the state can be really proud of to draw new business, new activities, a lot of exciting stuff. It's a beautiful property. We're going to get to show that to the world. That's where it starts. And then you've just got a lot of people involved that love the sport, want to show off the state. The governor was a huge part of that and an important thing there. You can't take a sports event somewhere where people don't like sports. As I said earlier, I think Utah sports fans are a great breed. I know they'll come out and support golf. So the stars really aligned, and we'll see where it heads. I think it's going to be with us for many years to come, and we can grow from here in version 1 in a couple months here.
What stands out to you about the layout of Black Desert, the red rock, the lava rock? It's just so unique compared to so many other, I really can't think of many other stops on tour that look like Black Desert Resort.
Yeah, you're right. I think when fans see this, if they haven't seen already, they're going to just be amazed because the golf course itself is a fantastic layout. It's going to be very competitive. I think the professionals will be tested by it in a good way. It's fair but challenging, but it's very unique. It's cut through the lava rock, as you said. It's got a very striking appearance between the fairways and the sort of the green corridors of the holes versus the lava rock. And then when you zoom out, which, as you know, in golf telecasts we like to do, it's just absolutely stunning. You have Snow Canyon right around the corner, and everything that you can picture about southern Utah, I think, is going to be on full display. So it's going to be aesthetically pleasing to the eye and a great competition. I think it's going to really show nicely.
How important is this event specifically to getting into a new market for one, or at least an older market that is being revitalized, but also growing the game in an area where you can play golf year round and maybe getting the next generation involved?
It's really important. I mean, like I say, Utah and the Intermountain West really is a region that we've come some places a lot over the years. Las Vegas, which is not too far away, has been a market we've been in a long time. Phoenix, Scottsdale. But frankly, Utah is a huge market, great sports fans that we need, we want to be there and support that. And then the fact that the southern Utah, greater Zion is growing so rapidly, I think it's a really good opportunity to display a region that I'm not sure viewers around the world globally. I mentioned, we're going to be over those 4 days broadcast in over 1 billion homes across 200 countries. And I'm not sure, how well southern Utah is known. I think it's going to be really surprising and amazing to be able to display that to the world.
Well. Sean wants a piece of the Black Desert Resort.
I know.
that.
We've been talking about it. We did a little golfing yesterday. Man, if I
Well, you vowed to quit the game, and now you want to come back.
Yeah, I would love to shoot 110 there at that course.
It's a great. Hey, listen,
score.
no better view.
The highest score.
I talked with Tyler at length. If you want to watch the full interview, by the way, we talked about players in the field, getting some big names here, kind of what that looks like if you're thinking about growing the game of golf in Southern Utah. It's all on our YouTube channel right now. I posted a couple hours ago. Great conversation because Tyler's from Utah, and he agreed. We have some great golf courses here.
Yeah.
Is the weather going to cooperate if you want to get out and swing the sticks here in early September?
Well, I mean, today we're dealing with the smoke, and so doing any outdoor activity, let alone 4 hours on a golf course, is not ideal with this. Tomorrow it gets a little bit better. I would still probably not plan a golf trip for tomorrow. Maybe the driving range, the air is going to get a little bit better, but in the days ahead, I'd say Friday would be the best day as that smoke starts to completely mix out of the area. But yes, we have a lot of smoke across the area. We are in the red category, by the way, which is something we typically don't have to deal with here, and some of actually the worst air quality for some of the major cities in the world right now. We're in the top 10. So that's just showing you how bad the air is right now. 79 degrees in Ogden, though. Down into Salt Lake City, we are a lot cooler than yesterday, so at least we have that. We've got the very unhealthy for everyone, not just sensitive groups, for everyone today. It does get better, though, as I mentioned, through the next few days. You can see it start to mix out. But notice for all the southern and southwestern resorts there, including all those golf resorts, yes, the air pollution gets worse for you tomorrow and then starts to improve as we get into Friday. So this is all due to the winds out of the northwest that we've been dealing with here because of yesterday's cold front. You can see some of those wind gusts right now further out towards the east, gusting up to 20 to 26 miles per hour. Tomorrow, though, it'll be more out of the east-northeast, and that's what's going to help kind of clear it up a bit. Because remember, those wildfires are currently in Idaho. So it's those northwesterly winds that's bringing it in. We saw some good rain yesterday, 1/10 of an inch, not too bad. Some areas saw less, some areas saw more, near 1/2 an inch. But we're already ahead of schedule for this month so far for rain, so we'll take it. A few showers out there earlier in Vernal. That's pushing out towards the east. We're seeing plenty of clear skies, other than, of course, the smoke. But even though you can't see the clear skies, just know that it is there above the smoke. We're dealing with temperatures, as I mentioned, to the 70s. I'm down in the Wasatch. We're at 76 in Logan, 81 in Delta, 101 still in St. George. So plenty hot where you are. 50s and 60s as we head through the overnight. Tomorrow, we are dealing with temperatures that are heating back up into the mid and upper 80s, 78 in Park City, smoky skies further out towards the west. If you're heading out to Peach Days in Brigham City, here in the days ahead, temperatures start to get up to the 90s, so we've got some hot weather returning into the area. Triple-digit heat here through the next few days. As we head into the weekend, we're into the upper 90s, dealing with temperatures here along the Wasatch Front, heating back up. After seeing a high of 83, we go to 87 tomorrow, 91 to close out the week, and then heading into the weekend, a little on the hot side, back up into the lower 90s, which, by the way, is above normal. 86 is our average, so we're starting to get toasty once again.
Who asked for that late summer, early fall transitional time with a heat wave? I don't know who.
I mean, I like it. I don't mind
like
it.
the heat?
I like the heat because my pool's still open, so I will be by the pool.
Perfect.
Yeah,
all right.
why not?
Not a bad gig.
Yeah.
I guess if you got to get out and do something, stick around
Yeah.
the water at this point.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Sean. Coming up on Arc Salt Lake, New Zealand increasing its tourist fees. How much it will soon cost you to visit the island. Welcome back. For the first time in 25 years, new buses are hitting the roads in Zion National Park.
Yeah, that's right. The new all-electric fleet replaces the propane-powered buses. Zion is the first national park in the nation to go all-electric. The project was funded in part by a $33 million grant from the U.S. Department of Transportation. The new buses can carry 80 to 100 passengers and are air-conditioned.
Have you been to Zion when you have to take the bus?
I haven't been to
Because there's part of
Zion.
the year where you don't have to take the bus, and that's when I prefer to go. But
Yeah.
we're going to get you out there.
I know. It's on a list. It's on a list.
Yeah,
Maybe
good. There's a
when that
long
cooler-
list when it comes to Utah.
Cooler weather arrives. Well, tourists will have to pay more this fall to visit New Zealand.
The government announced it's nearly tripling the entry fee from around $20 to more than $60. Now, that fee was first introduced back in 2019. I learned about this today. Didn't know they charge you there. It's meant to be put in really relieving some of the burden on maintaining those popular destinations that tourists use, but officials say the original amount didn't cover the costs. On my list, by the way, New Zealand is definitely on there.
You Lord of the Rings fan?
Yes, but I'd also gladly pay the $60.
Yeah.
Because if I'm going to make the
If you're going to
commitment
spend
to go there,
a bunch of money to get
let's
there
talk
anyway.
about how much it costs to get on a
$60
plane to go
yeah.
to New Zealand.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for joining us for the program tonight. I don't know who you'll see tomorrow night, but you won't see me. I'll be back with you early next week. Have a great evening, and we'll do this thing again soon. See ya.